Welcome to Along the Way with GMS. My friends, get ready for a wild ride. This podcast is not going to be slick. It's not going to be polished like the MCMI report or CyberSky videos or So Boom. It's not highly produced. There's going to be technical difficulties like you just heard right there. I had to mute something that was playing. That's hilarious. Started playing a video right in the middle of my broadcast. But basically, this is behind the scenes of myself, GMS, and I'll get into more of who I am for those who are new. Preparing for my new release, my debut solo release. People know me from Hydra and The Plague, MCMI in the building. But I have not, as of yet, released a debut project as a solo artist rapping. So that's coming soon. And the name of the project is, ironically, Along the Way. Now, just to give you an idea of how it's going to go down, I'm sure you can tell my audio is a little shaky right now. That's because I didn't have time to hook up the mic before the broadcast started, and I didn't want to be late. So I just said, well, we're going to do it all live on the air. Everyone's going to see the whole procedure and process. So right now I'm connecting my mic and the audio is going to sound better in just a second. Let me know if you're in Facebook, if you're on MCMI Report channel. Let me know if you're on CyberSky Videos channel, where you're checking in from. And yeah, I had a choice. Sometimes I go a couple of weeks without doing a CyberSky Videos podcast, because I'm doing the preparation and the writing and uploading files and introduction music and branding, like what you're seeing at the bottom of the screen, little things like that. Let me switch that, and plugging in the mic and getting everything right. And it takes so long sometimes that I say, I don't have time to do it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not going to do a show this week. I have too much preparation to do. So that annoys me, that I often don't have enough time to produce things right. And then that leads to me producing less content for you guys. So I decided that this one was going to be different. We're going to start a show whenever the show is supposed to start, no matter what. And you guys are going to see what happens along the way. Now, I just changed my microphone, so I'm not sure if you're hearing me right now. I'm going to check the mic levels. Let's take a look. Audio. We're going to switch to the professional Shure mic. 1 2 1 2. Let me know how the audio is sounding on your end. Not seeing levels yet. Hang on. 1 2 1 2. There we go. Cool. All right, let's take a look at the comments, see who's up in here. What's good, people? Hydra, yes. MCMI, let's go. So now that our audio is a little bit better, hopefully sounds a little better, let's get the lighting in the studio looking a little more professional. Let's put on a backlight. As you can see, I'm in the middle of a lot of work on the computer. I got multiple tabs open. One more detail before going live is set up the screen. This week I'm going with an old photo, because part of the theme of Along the Way is going to be me sharing with you my history. Over the years, I've been a musician, a rapper, an educator. I should say an MC, not a rapper, but an artist. I've also been a promoter. There's a lot of stuff in my history that led me to right here where we are today. And along the way, I was in a group and still am in a group called Hydra. Some of y'all know Hydra out there. Let me know in the comment or in the live chat if you're down with Hydra. So I got the picture of Hydra behind me, and my two partners there that you should be able to see. I think the glare is covering Keith Wildchild. I'm gonna fix the lighting in a minute. And that's LR Blitzkrieg on the left. That's how they looked 20 years ago. And that's how I looked 20 years ago. But I had long hair. They still have their long hair. But, hair today, gone tomorrow. You know how it is. So now I have, the best hairstyle of all. No hair, don't care. But let me see if I can get that light off of Keith Wildchild's face. Turn this one off. Yeah, I think you can see him a little better now. Yeah, now I'm a little bleached out, but that's cool. Um, so now we got the mic, we got the lighting a little bit better. Let me just show you guys the rest of the studio. On this side, we've got some equipment. Let's see, got my monitors, keyboard, drum equipment. Shout out to PH Pumpkinhead. That's the hat right there. Then we got the workstation where I do a lot of video editing. The green screen on this side. And that's basically it. You know, in front of me is just one or two lights and a microphone. Hey, I got visitors from, looks like Russia. That's what it looks like. Not sure. The name is in, it looks like it's in Russian, but that could be another language. So I'd love to shout you out, but I can't read your name. But good looking for dropping by along the way podcast. Now, this is the first podcast, and each week's going to be a little different. But right now, I'm just introducing the whole concept. So along the way is going to be a 7-song project released by myself, GMS of Hydra, GMS of the Plague, GMS of MCMI. It's going to be a joint production between, MCMI Records and my media company, CYBERSKY Videos. And just all hands on deck. Stairs Academy is probably going to help out with this. It's going to be everywhere. This is my first release of a solo project. I've had guest appearances on Pac FM, with Tone Deaf, with Substantial, with Pumpkinhead, been on a couple mixtapes here and there. I think I did a feature with C. Ray's Walls, but I've never had a solo GMS project. So along the way is going to represent some of the stories, struggles, triumphs that I've gone through along the way. And I'm going to use this platform right here, MCMI Report and CYBERSKY Videos, to share some of those stories building up to the release of the first single. And the first single, by the way, is called Teacher. And some of you, probably about half of you out there, know that I've been in the education field for many, many years. And at the same time as going and teaching music lessons privately for many years, teaching in summer camps and preschools, and then eventually getting my college degree and starting to work for the New York City Department of Education, and teach in public schools. I've been teaching music. I've been teaching technology. I was a physical education teacher for 1 year. I've taught a 6th grade class, all subjects. My license enables me to teach a lot of different subjects. So I've been educating over the years and also doing internships for college students and recent college graduates who need to do an internship with a company. So I use my nonprofit organization, Stairs Academy, to develop programs to help mentor, young people and as they grow up and become adults and move into the workforce and start their careers. So this song Teacher is kind of like the dichotomy, the dual life, shall we say, for the comic book fans, the Daredevil Matt Murdock type existence that I've lived for the last, I'd say, 25 years as a public school educator and an MC and club promoter at times. So at night I'm working, and then I'm doing a show, and then I'm promoting an event, and then I'm getting up at 7 in the morning. I'm going to work. I'm teaching the kids all day. I'm getting home. I'm writing lesson plans. I'm writing rhymes. I'm going to the studio. I'm recording. I'm shooting a video. I'm promoting something for our brand. Maybe we're promoting an open mic event for MCMI events, right? And we used to do Hydra Presents back in the day. So this song is kind of just me reflecting on the fact that I started out rapping and freestyling and ciphers and doing battle raps, as I was a teenager, and then going up into college, had my college hip hop radio station while getting my education degree, graduated, moved into the workforce, and then had to struggle, like a lot of artists do, with the fact that we are trying to pursue arts. We're trying to make music. We're trying to create art. And at the same time, we have a day job that sustains us and supports us. And then we also sometimes make some money on the other side doing our art, doing tours, doing releases. But it's a really hard grind, to quote my My brother PH, RIP, he coined the term the grustle. That's when you grind and you hustle. I mean, that's what a lot of artists go through until and unless they make it really big where they can sustain themselves just with their music. And I think a lot of MCs in hip hop are going through that struggle, but they keep it hidden because they feel like it kind of looks corny that I have a job, that I have that I go to work in a bank, or that I do security, or that I have work for the city in some kind of role. I'm a postal worker, whatever it is, and then I'm out here rapping and trying. But it depends. If your raps are about balling and how you're, a drug kingpin or something, and you have a day job, that's played out, corny. But if you keep it real and you just rhyme about your real life and your experience, I don't think it's really that bad. And I think that some artists would do well to reveal that side of themselves. Now, I'm going to shout out one of my Plague members, the Bad Seed, because he blogs about his work situation. And he writes songs about it, about, the struggle of like going to work and sometimes dealing with a boss that's getting on your case, or not liking that the type of work you're doing is demeaning, or having to travel to different places to do your work that brings the money that you need to pay the bills because you have a wife and daughter. But then at the same time, that travel for your job stops you from doing shows that you want to do in other states, or shooting videos, or getting in the studio. And he actually puts that into his art. And so I really respect the Bad Seed, and I love when he goes there with his lyrics, when he has concept songs that touch upon things like that. So I decided that I'm going to lean in and embrace the fact that I'm a teacher. I've been teaching since a teenager. For those that don't know, my parents are music teachers. They have a music school in Brooklyn. And so I grew up playing all kinds of instruments. And at a very young age, I'd say 14 or 15, I started to teach. I started out because I think I'm going to give you two little stories in this episode. And then each week I'm going to give you more stories of what happened along the way in my journey. So the first time I taught, really, it wasn't music. I taught juggling. So my man Keith Wildchild, he and we put together a magic show when we were like 11, 12. And I would juggle and he would do magic tricks. And sometimes he would juggle and I would help with the tricks too. And it was a cute little show. Two little kids, middle school age, doing magic shows. We performed at street fairs, birthday parties, all kinds of stuff. So somebody found out that I could juggle, and they were doing a play. And in the play, a little local theater group, they wanted the actors to juggle while they were doing certain parts of the play. So they asked my mom, could I teach them juggling? So I actually went and taught about 8 people in this theater company. Shout out to CBA Productions, Cynthia Belgrave, RIP. She was a great pillar of the community who had a local theater group and mentored young actors coming up in Brooklyn in the 70s and 80s. So now in the 80s, she asked my mom, it's about 1986, if I could teach them juggling, and I did that. So now my father, he teaches music, all instruments and voice, jazz, classical, pop, right? So when I was about 15 or 16, there was a guy, he wanted someone, he was taking lessons from my father. He comes to my dad's house, his school in Brooklyn, but he wanted someone to teach his children. He had 3 children. He wanted them to have piano lessons, but in Staten Island. And my dad doesn't do house calls. So he's like, who can I hire to teach my kids in Staten Island piano lessons? So my dad says, hey, my son, he's been playing music his whole life. He can teach, he'll make house calls. He's just getting started. So at that time, I started teaching. The guy would pick me up. I'm a young kid, 15. He would drop me off. He would bring me to his house in Staten Island. I would teach all 3 of his kids. They were like, one was like 8, one was 10, one was 12, something like that. I would give them each a piano lesson, and then he would have a car service take me home, right? This guy was wealthy, by the way. He owned multiple businesses in Brooklyn. I'm not going to give up his name or who he is, but he owned a lot of businesses. So that was nothing for him to pay a little extra. So he paid me a little more than if he would have sent the kids to my dad's school, because he didn't want to have to bring them to Brooklyn and back. He'd rather transport me, let his kids be in the house, have a car service pick me up, bring me there, and then I teach the kids, and then the car service bring me back to Brooklyn. So that was how I started teaching music. And by the time I was 16, I had about 12 students. And when I became about 18, I got a little Honda scooter, and I would have a backpack with some instruments and some music books. And I would travel to different people's houses throughout Brooklyn in different neighborhoods. And that was my niche. I taught what other teachers didn't want to do. I would go to your house. So I'd be done with the lesson, leave, or be in Windsor Terrace. I'd head over to Borum Hill, teach a lesson. I'd head over to Fort Greene, teach a lesson. So I was going house to house with my scooters, and people had their music lessons once a week, and I was making good money that way. Fast forward a few years later, after that, I had my own problems in school. That's a story that I'll go into in depth in another episode, where during high school, I had a lot of things going on that was souring me to the education system and to the whole process. And so, to put it short, I dropped out of school in between the 10th and 11th grade. I didn't want to graduate. I just wanted to drop out. Didn't like going to school. So a couple of years went by. I got my GED, went to college. In college, I figured out that I was going to be an education major, because I wanted to become a teacher and, do the things that the teachers who inspired me did, the teachers that did it right and still are ingrained in my memory. And I am so grateful to them forever for what they did for me as a child and as a teenager growing up. And then the teachers that weren't so great, and the school systems that weren't great, and the principals that were horrible, I kind of learned from them what not to do. So I said, I'm going to become a teacher, work in education, and try to reach kids and try to be that inspiring teacher for the kids. And, of course, when I first began my career, I didn't know what I was doing. You get out of college, you go through the trial by fire, as all teachers know, you struggle. But little by little, I developed my skills over the years, and I think I became a pretty good teacher. And, some students say I'm a great teacher and I'm a favorite teacher and all that. Some students are like, yeah, whatever, Mr. CYBERSKY, it's all good. But the point being, I've been educating along the way this whole time. So even when I was 12 years old and I made a hip hop music demo with Keith Wildchild, we had our first group, the Def Duo, right? Little kids. Run DMC is big around that time. They got, I think Raising Hell Out, or maybe it was even before that. But we were listening to Houdini and groups like that. So we went and made a little rap demo. At the same time, a couple years later, we started, getting a little more advanced with the hip hop. We started getting better. We're entering battles. We're entering contests. We're beatboxing. We're freestyling. We're writing our writtens. So as we get older, I get more and more into hip hop, but I'm not doing it professionally. It's just a thing we do. You get with your crew. Shout out to the Plague, and you go to the Village, or you go down in Brooklyn, wherever you're at, and you find some MCs, y'all rhyme, whatever. You make a cipher. Sometimes it's some battles, and we're honing our skills. At the same time, I'm teaching private music lessons, learning how to teach one-on-one. I haven't worked for the Board of Ed yet. You know what I'm saying? Good looking with the likes. Take a moment to smash the like if you're entertained, or if you know me and you want to support the movement Along the Way podcast. This is the first episode. I didn't even hook up the studio exactly how I want it. I didn't put all the banners up. I will flip one on right now. There we go. Along the Way with GMS. Let's see. I created a couple of these. We are live, so enter the chat. Leave a comment. I only see about 5 or 6 comments. So go in there. Give me your questions. Give me your shout outs. Let me know where you're from. If you know me personally, let me know who it is. And but getting back to the story. So this podcast is going to be 2 things. One, it's going to be what happens along the way as I prepare these songs to release to you. So right away, I'm going to let you know, January 25th is my birthday. It's a huge monumental birthday for me. It's one of the big numbers with a 0 behind it. I'm not going to reveal today. Next episode, I'll reveal how old I will be turning, and you guys can take guesses. You can look at me. What do I look like? But that's going to be the release date of the first single. The song is called Teacher, right? And it's going to be about being an MC and running with my crew, and people step to us, they get dissed. And at the same time, I'm teaching kids how to play instruments. Hey, one of my students is in the chat. Shout out to Zach Hayes Arts and Letters. How you doing, man? How's that piano coming? How's that keyboard? I know you wanted to produce beats and you wanted some keyboard skills to help you with that. And I know you do boxing too. So shout out to you. One of my former middle school students. So I'm doing those things at the same time. Hey, sweetie, thanks. You love my story. I love your story too, China. Marksman, what up? What up? So, the first thing is, along the way of making these songs over the years, this is a collection of songs. These are 7 songs. The most recent one I might have made like the past year. And there's one more I'm going to put on the album that I'm recording right now. So that's going to be the most up to date. And then there's songs I made like 2-3 years ago. There was this song, Teacher. I was trying to shoot the video right before the pandemic. So I shot half of it. And then there was the shutdown in 2020 and I was on hold. And then Bamboo, who's featured on the song, shouts to him. He lives in another state and they weren't allowed to come to this state. And it was the travel restrictions during COVID, right? So that whole video just got paused. And then a whole year went around. And then the summer of 2021, there was a little window where like for a few months you could do stuff. So he was coming to Brooklyn and we were shooting the rest of the video. And then boom, it got bad again. And then I edited the video. And shout out to Jarrett Robertson, who shot that video, and awesome film producer and video director and photographer. So shouts to him. But yeah, man. So what happened along the way? Stories like that about that video. That's going to be in this podcast. And then stories of what happened along the way of me growing up as a kid. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, Dean Street, 3rd and 4th Avenue, right near the Pacific Street, Atlantic Avenue train station. So for those who are real Brooklyn, right? Not new Brooklyn, the real Brooklyn heads, you remember the Triangle newsstand, and now a whole bunch of stuff is gone and the Barclays is there and it's all been changed or renovated, switched around. But that's where I grew up until I was about 9. And then when I was 9, my parents were separated and my father remarried, and he bought a different house with my stepmom Vita, and they moved to Park Slope. And so then I lived part-time in Park Slope, part-time in Boerum Hill. Then my mom sold the house on Dean Street. She goes to Wyckoff and Bond, right on the corner, like where the projects start. I don't know if you know over there. And I think Bergen Street, F-train station. And I went to PS 261 over there. So, all these things are happening along the way of my growth and development, which leads me to right here where I am now. And I'm determined that this is going to be my best year yet. I'm going to drop this 7-song project. It's going to come out between now and the summer. First single, January 25th, a couple weeks from now. And it's going to have a video. It's going to have the single. I have instrumentals and acapellas for DJs. You don't have to hit me up. I'm going to throw it right on the Bandcamp. I'm going to release it a lot of different ways. I'm working on NFTs. I do have plans to put it up for streaming on Spotify, but the first way that you're going to see it is YouTube, where the video will live, and Bandcamp, which, by the way, is mcmi.bandcamp.com. I'm going to throw that right in the live chat right now. So if you go to, what happened? mcmi.bandcamp.com. I don't know if it'll be linkable, but I think it will because I'm the host. So let's see what happens when I throw this in there. So that's the Bandcamp for the label, right? I definitely want to promote that. Give that a click and see if it opens. I think it's linkable. So that's the label's Bandcamp. My personal Bandcamp, I think, is GMS MCMI, but I don't know if there's an underscore. Oh, no, GMS MCMI. I'm testing it out in another browser. This is how we do over here. I'm just going to do everything in front of you guys, completely transparent. If I got to switch the mic out, if I got to adjust the lights, if I got to stop and tie my shoe, whatever I got to do, you guys are going to see it all unveiled right here. So here's my personal Bandcamp, but the 2 Bandcamps are linked. Like, I'm an artist under MCMI, that's part of MCMI. And so I got my music on my personal page. And if you go there to gmsmcmi.bandcamp.com, you'll see some mixtapes that I've done. Shout outs to DP1. You got the Brooklyn's Finest mixtape, which has 1 song featuring Hydra. And of course, I'm in Hydra, so I'm on that song. And then there's another mixtape called the Love Is mixtape. And there's 1 song featuring Hydra on that as well. So if you want to hear a little bit of the old stuff and salute to the crew, and check us out. Now, if you browse the rest of MCMI, you're going to see music from Chords Cordero, He's on this project that I'm dropping along the way. You're going to see, you're going to find music from Pumpkinhead, PH, RIP, salute. You're going to hear LR Blitzkrieg, my Hydra brother, Keith Wildchild, Levels Band. I'm trying to think of what else is up there. There's a Plague joint featuring Dominion and Hydra. So Hydra is myself, GMS, Keith Wildchild, and LR Blitzkrieg. Dominion is like a group they formed, three close friends and formerly Q&5 artists. Some of them are still Q&5. It was Pac FM, Pac FM, Mr. Mech. Shout out to Mr. Mech, salute. And Substantial from the DMV. So they formed this group called Dominion, and there's 3 of them. So Hydra, we have a 3-person group. So one day, Pac FM and me were chilling right here in this room. We were just listening to beats, and I threw on a Wild Child beat. We were just thinking about maybe we should make a song, just like me and him. We were working on come up with a record or whatever. And he was like, yo, this sounds like an ill song, like a verses, not the verses you hear now. This was like in 2012. He was like, yo, this sounds like it could be like Flip Mode versus Def Squad. Let's like do that. Let's put like Hydra versus Dominion. Let's do it. So the 6 of us got on the track. We spit 12 bars. The song's called 12. It dropped on, we recorded the song on December 12th, 2012. We dropped it a few days later, December 21st, 2012, which was supposed to be the end of the world on the Mayan calendar. And my boy LR Blitzkrieg, in his verse on that record, he says, I am what the Mayan calendar reference, right? And so we're like, that's dope. Let's drop it right on the date that's supposed to be, the end of the world. Is it all going to stop here? Of course, the world didn't stop. We're still here. But that was really dope. So along with the idea of numerology, I decided to name this project with some numbers as well. And the number is 777. That's a very meaningful number for me. And different episodes, I'm going to explain some of the meanings behind 777. But for now, just to know, like, the name of the project is Along the Way 777. The along the way meaning these are the things that happen along the way of my career, of my life. A lot of personal stories on this album. Growing up, I even tell a little bit of my father's story of him growing up, and then what happened to him and how he got his life together, and then how I went through similar struggles, and I ended up eventually teaching music, which is just what my father does, So it's like at the end, you just become your father, no matter how your life is different. We're so different. He does not like hip hop. He's a jazz musician. He likes jazz, folk, classical. He doesn't like rock. He doesn't like hip hop. He's not into house music. So here I am, a little kid listening to all this, urban music and dance music and going to house parties, dancing house music, dancing hip hop, dancing dance hall, reggae, rapping with my friends and creating groups and stuff. So even though we're different, because he's like a jazz head, Charlie Parker, Nat Cole, Lester Young, Dizzy Gillespie, Lenny Tristano, stuff like that. And I'm a hip hop head. We're both musicians. He has sessions with his friends playing music, but they play jazz, He plays piano, so his boy comes over, bass, drum, saxophone, and they jam. I go to sessions. I'm freestyling, with people that you guys know, Mr. Man and the Bush Babies, Supernatural, the whole Plague crew. So many people that used to cypher in the park or West 4th Street back in the day. And there's parallels there. So one of the songs shows the parallels between my father's life and my life and things that I learned from him and the way that I bonded with my crew as we grew up, really at a young age, like junior high school through high school, and then eventually formed musical groups and do what we do today. So you see all that history in one song. It's called Circle of Life. I'll reveal that here. One of the singles is going to be called Circle of Life. But the first single that's dropping on January 25th is called Teacher. Very simple. Now, I was trying to prepare to like play you a little bit of the beat. I don't know if I can, but I think I can. I'm going to share my screen for a minute and see if I can, show you what I'm doing behind the scenes. In fact, why don't you come take a look, come with me and take a look at, I'm creating a little intro. Now, this is not going to be the slick, polished intro like LR Blitzkrieg did for MCMI Report. You guys See the MCMI report intro. It's crazy. It's got effects and different photos changing and movement. The beat is dope, produced by Knots. But this intro, I just basically took one of the beats from the project, went on my Instagram, grabbed like 6 random pictures. Like, okay, this one, this one, this one, this one. Real quick, pulled those pictures down, opened iMovie, threw them in iMovie, put the song in there, lined them up. And now I'm going to finish it up with you guys. So let me just share my screen real quick. Everything's super transparent. You're going to see whatever's on my desktop. I'm not closing anything, whatever's there. Let's see. Share entire screen. So now you can see my whole panel. Oh, it's infinity. So here's the iMovie, right? And I threw in my photos, some old pics. It's just what I could find in like 60 seconds. I did not have time to sit down and really think it out and make a dope intro. So I just grabbed a few things. This is actually some artwork that Blitzkrieg did for our MCMI report intro. And then I threw the beat for Along the Way, which is the title track. I'm not releasing this song yet, but I put the beat on there. And I've teased this beat before. I started a new crypto channel for those that follow me as CyberSky, Mr. CyberSky Videos. Talk about crypto and NFTs and blockchain a lot. So one of my channels needed some music, so I put this as the intro on that channel. But it's actually a song that's now going to come out on the Along the Way project. So this is what I got so far. Let's check it out. I hope you're getting the sound. If you're not getting the sound, at least you're seeing. Someone put in the chat, are you hearing the beat? Or are you just seeing the screen right now? All right, so I'm going to render that. It's a real rush job. This is temporary. Next week, I promise I'm coming back with a fully produced professional intro, but I just wanted to, let you guys see the process and what goes on behind the scenes and how difficult it is. And this is all the work I do in between my teaching career, in between, dealing with family, parents, wife, travel, shopping, and other educational things like working with my nonprofit, tried to start a school for several years. So let's just call this temp intro. It's a temporary intro, right? For Along the Way. And let's save it to the downloads folder. I don't really care about it that much. Boom. So while that's rendering, let me look in the chat and see. I'm going to type, can you guys hear the beat when I play it? Let's see if you guys heard that. And once again, shout out to the Facebook crew. This is broadcasting on my Facebook page, my personal page. So if you're a friend of mine, you're seeing it there. Shout out to the CyberSky Videos team CyberSky. And I don't know why I'm showing this view. Let's take that off. And shout out to MCMI Report, the hip hop brand. Don't forget to check out mcmireport.com. So let's take a look and see if that, here you can see the console. Let me see here. Boom. Let's take a look and see if the video is rendered. Share successful. Hey, I want you guys to see it. Hold on. I got to, boom. So it says, in fact, let's try this view. Share successful, show. There it is. Temp Along the Way. Now I'm going to attempt to upload it to StreamYard, which I'm broadcasting on, while I'm doing the show. I don't know if that's ever been done before. We don't really need iMovie, so let me just close that. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes. Boom. Let's take the share off because you're getting the infinity screen again. So now I'm going to try to upload it as my intro, and then I'll play it for you guys, and we'll check it out. Add video clip, downloads folder. Don't see it. Oh, there it is. Temp intro. It might not be the right file type or something. Let's see if it uploads. So it says uploading. And I'm going to be doing this, every couple of days. You're going to see me. And sometimes I will pop up on Instagram and just have a little conversation with people as well. So this is all in promotion of the debut single Teacher, that you can see right on the screen. And let's see if I can give you my my Instagram stuff. Oh, I think if I just remove this, there it is. So you can follow me at GMS _ MCMI. Where is it? It's over here. I'm reversed because I didn't do the mirror image because then everything will be backwards. So GMS underscore MCMI. MCMI is the label, the brand, the clothing, the blog, the website, the newsletter, MCMI report, the podcast. Follow our podcast if you're on MCMI report channel right now. After this show, go check out the MCMI report podcast. It's the three people you see on the screen 20 years later. That's a picture, an old picture of us. LR Blitzkrieg, GMS, Keith Wildchild. We have 4 episodes up. Go check that out. We've been talking about doing some new episodes soon. We're getting our technology together for that. So let's see if that has finished uploading. Yeah, it's there. So here we go. I created it right in front of you guys, rendered it, uploaded it. It's the temporary along the way intro, and you're going to hear one of the beats that's on the project, and you can put in the chat what you think of the track. Here we go. I'll be right back. All right. So I don't know if you guys could hear the music. I was trying to see if it was playing on my phone, and I see that my phone's not even playing the podcast. So let me close that and reopen it. I can do anything like this now in this show because this is the Along the Way podcast. Along the way, this happened. So I had to like do technical support. Oh, there we go. It's working. Okay, good. All right. I want to see if you guys can hear the beat. I'm going to play it one more time so I can test it on my phone at the same time. So here it is again. Here's the track. These are some pictures that are cool. You know, shout outs to everyone in the pictures, but not that important. It's just some pictures of me rapping and doing stuff and in the studio. But we're checking out the beat. This is a sneak preview of the instrumental, just a snippet of the beginning of the song called Along the Way, which will be somewhere along the way released, either the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th single. I know what the first 3 releases are going to be. The first one is Teacher, coming to you January 25th. I have not mapped out the entire project of when each single is going to be released and in what order. But the first single is Teacher, and the second single is called Freedom. But right now, check out the beat for Along the Way. Let's run it one more time. Yeah. All right. So I hear that the sound is going there. So that beat right there is produced by this really ill producer. You guys might know him, but he hasn't really put out anything, you know, publicly. But he, you know, in the industry, people know he makes dope beats. But this might be one of his first projects working on my project. His name is Graham CYBERSKY. You guys ever heard of him? He works with that dude, GMS, yeah, and also CYBERSKY, Mr. CYBERSKY. So that's a self-produced track, and also the single Teacher, which is going to be dropping January 25th, which is a Tuesday, but it will release on different days on different platforms. So the official release date is January 25th. Why? Because that's my birthday. So you guys know what I want for my birthday. I don't even have to tell you. But it'll drop it might drop on Friday on the Bandcamp because that's a big Bandcamp release date. The video might go up on Saturday on YouTube, you know, because there's different days and times that are good for the different platforms and the algorithms. You know, the marketing people know about that and they advise me as to when I should release stuff. So, but the official date, we're going to call it my birthday because that sounds nice. And it'll be a great birthday gift that I finally was able to release this music that I've been working on for like 5 years. You know, some of the songs, some of them are you know, recent, but some of them I've been sitting on. I've had that song for a while. And one of the songs is going to be a re-release. I made this record and I dropped it for a short period of time in 2012, and it had no video. And then I took it down. I said, I don't want to release anything without a video anymore. So I pulled it off out of the store. But later, it's featuring Chords Cordero. So later, I wanted Chords to be able to get light off the song. So I was like, you can put it in your store. So he's been having it in his Bandcamp. But I'm going to re-release it with some remixes and the official video, which is shot and in the bag. Shout out to Borderland Films or Borderline Films. I think it's Borderland Films that shot that video for Freedom. But anyway, yeah. So what do you guys think of the track is coming through? Hey, Matt Hope, how you doing? Childhood friend, very, very close friend, best friends with my brother, Jake Rockowitz. They went to high school together. Yeah, man, friend of the family. You heard it? Cool. So, along the way, podcasts is going to have stories of what happened along the way of creating the podcast, of creating the album and releasing the album and even marketing the album. So right now I'm talking about the song Teacher because that's the first single, like I said, January 25th, a couple weeks from now. So I'm going to give you a couple of stories about the song Teacher, and then we're going to close out for today. And next time I'll give you another few stories from my life. And if you tuned in late, rewatch the video later, and I dropped some gems about, some things that happened when I was growing up, how I got with my rhyming partners and things about my parents and moving to different neighborhoods. So it's not only about the music, it's about my story as well. But we're going back and forth between along the way in the life of Graham CYBERSKY and along the way of making this album, GMS. So along that note, I'll give you this last story before I sign off. The song Teacher. This is how I was inspired to write that and the whole process, how that came about. So I teach, music in a school called Arts and Letters 305 United. It used to just be called Arts and Letters, and it merged with another school. And we put the United in there because we're united as one school. We're not a co-located school. We're one school with both staffs merged into one. We work together, principals and everything. So in that school, it's a K-8, but I've been teaching mostly 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade for the last 5 or 6 years. Before that, I used to teach kindergarten and all that. So I teach music and tech, which is a music production class for those students. It's an elective. So the kids have computers and MIDI keyboards that plug into the computer and little drum pad controllers, the same stuff that I would use at home. And I just got them a microphone recently, like this one, to use in the classroom. They've been recording directly into the MacBook, which built-in mic, but I want them to now get better sound. And I got a pop pad and all that. I'm trying to build up the studio at work for the kids. And, many kids have gone on and continued making music. So several of them are making music right now. Some of them are singers, songwriters, play guitar, sing. But in my class, they made beats and then they recorded their voice and they created little albums. A couple of them are rappers. One female student got signed to Def Jam. I'm not name dropping right now. Another guy, he drops music videos all the time, gets 500,000 streams on the first day. He's an artist from Brooklyn, a hot young new artist. One of these young rappers that was for a moment was beefing with Tekashi 6ix9ine back a few years ago, but he stepped out of that politics. He's not feeling that energy. So he's still dropping music. But one day I was making a beat in the classroom, and I do this all the time. I'm teaching them a new thing. This is how you cut up the sample and alter it so it won't sound the same as everyone else using the sample. You don't want to use a loop, and then anyone could use that. So now all your beats sound the same. So you got to flip it backwards, cut the snare out, take this part, put it there, rearrange the order of the music, slow the tempo, pitch bending. So I'm teaching them this, and I demonstrate by doing it on the screen. I put up a screen in front of the room, a big projector screen, and I'm showing them. We use GarageBand. I'm showing them how to do this. While I'm doing that, I'm making a little demo beat. I'm like, you could put the snare here. You could do the hi-hats. You could use this sample. You could use this sound. Play this little bass line. I drop that. And in 5 minutes, I make a beat in front of them while I'm demonstrating every class. And then, okay, guys, work on your song. And I come around and help you. Now they're in their headphones with their computer making their beats, right? So sometimes those beats are trash. Like the kids are laughing at me. I'm demoing, so I'm doing it really fast and it's coming out real corny, offbeat, or just sounds really amateur. And I laugh and I say, man, this beat is trash. You guys are going to make a much better song than me. But sometimes, even in 5-10 minutes, I go, wow, this came out really good. And sometimes the kids are like, oh, Mrs. Zabersky, that beat is kind of hot, you know. So when that happens, and it's happened maybe 4 or 5 times over like a 10-year period of making beats in front of the kids, I work on that beat later. I save it. I take it home. I put it in from GarageBand into Logic, and I start finishing it. Like I said, okay, the bass line, cool. Let me play it over. And I polish it and I perfect it and I add to it. And the song Teacher is one of those beats. What's good? Man of War 1. Who is that? I don't know that username. Let me know who you are so I can give you a shout out. So I made this beat for Teacher and I listened to it later and I was like, this is really dope. I really like it. And I showed it to my wife. I'm laying in the bed with a laptop. I got headphones. I'm like, baby, listen to this beat that I made in school in front of the kids. I was just demoing. It came out really good. And thank you for the subscribe. Salute. And let me know where you're from, by the way, and where you're listening. It looks like you're on YouTube. Are you on the MCMI Report channel or the CyberSky Videos channel? Let me know. So I said, this track sounds really modern. It's like it's the now sound, what people are doing right now. It's not like a 1990s boom bap, which some of my songs, I'm from the 90s. That's how we rap. That's the beats I like. I like DJ Premier. I like Pete Rock. I'm not going to, down that. That's the style of music. Half of my music sounds like that. Then I have another half, which is kind of modern and up to date. Then I have a few tracks that are very experimental. I'm trying to like do something that's never been done before. But this track was very modern. And I said, this sounds like the kids really liked this when I played it for them. Their eyes widened. This wasn't like, oh, Mr. Zabersky with his banging beats on the lunch table style, South Bronx type of beats that I normally do. They were like, oh, this is lit. This is whatever. At that time, it was three years ago. They were like, oh, this is lit. So I played it for her. She liked it. And I couldn't go to sleep. I was like, this song, even though it's got the trap hi-hats in it, underneath it, there's a sound which reminds me of a KRS-One BDP South Bronx beat because it had the those cymbals and those hi-hats, but it also had like a doom, doom, and I was like, that sounds like the bridge is over or something, but modernized. So I kept listening to it and I realized what song it reminded me of. It reminded me of this song by KRS-One or by BDP at the time. It came out around 1986 or 7, real old school. It was called Come to the Teacher. It's not on any of his produced albums. It's on Live Hardcore or Hardcore Live, the live album. It's on there. It's really hard to find. I couldn't find it on YouTube because he spelled teacher different ways in different times. So in one album, it says come to the teacher, T''CHA. And in another one, it says teacher, TEACHA. It's really hard to find. You guys can try to look for it. But I was like, yo, it has this old school boom bap. And even I would say Bronx. I'm not from the Bronx. I'm from Brooklyn. But I know the different sounds from different regions because I've been listening to hip hop since 7 years old. So I was like, this reminds me of Come to the Teacher. And the chorus was like, come to the teacher, come may say, come to the teacher, come may say, come to the teacher, come to the teacher, come to the teacher, and then he does his rhyme and he's got that dance hall reggae hip hop blend style that he was pioneering, and he's like, it's when it's high, it's when it's low, boogie down production, and I was like, oh, I'm going to write something like that. So I got the idea. I stayed up all night until 5 a.m. writing the lyrics to this. And I said, I'm going to take 1 or 2 lines and quote from that song, but then I'm going to tell my story of being a teacher on this beat. And I was going to call the song Come to the Teacher, but I was like, that's too much like his. It's not really a jack or a cover, but I take the chorus. So the chorus, KRS gets writing on that. I'll say it right here. But the lyrics are totally mine. And then I was like in the mood of that era, that BDP and KRS represents, even though they still drop dope music to this day. The era that he owns, that's in his hand, in his pocket, is like 88 to 96, in my opinion. Well, 86 to 96. That was the era. So I'm like, I'm putting quotes from Big Daddy Kane, Busta Rhymes, Cool G Rap. I'm dropping these little references all throughout the song, but I'm also talking about being an MC, battling MCs, running with my crew to Plague, being in ciphers and stuff. And then I'm talking about being a teacher and teaching kids financial literacy and how to make beats and how to get money, and how to make money off of your beats and how to create artwork and how to, now I'm teaching them NFTs and things like that, and how like my life molded into a teacher. So I wrote the whole song in like 4 hours, right? I put the two verses together, a little sub hook. And then I was like, I'm going to use that chorus. I'm going to use Come to the Teacher. So that's the chorus that's on there on the song Teacher. And I was really excited. I got no sleep. Maybe 5 o'clock I was done, 5 a.m. And I had to be at work at 8 a.m. and teach classes. It was like a Wednesday or something. It wasn't a weekend. But it was one of those times when you cannot stop writing. When the idea hits you, you're like, don't talk to me. Whether you're on your phone, whether you're writing it, whether you're typing it, you just cannot be bothered until this idea is complete on paper. Now, in my writing process, I write all different ways. I'll see your question and get to that in a second. Sometimes I sit with a beat, listen to it, and write. That's like what Rakim says that he does most of the time. He hears a beat, he gets inspired. Sometimes I'm just walking down the street and I think of an idea, I just start freestyling out loud or in my head or whatever. Sometimes I'm driving, riding a train, whatever. I get an idea. I just pull out a pad, jot down those 4 bars. All right, I'll continue that later, right? And then later I'll put together songs. But every so often I get this divine inspiration type flow where an idea hits me and I just start putting line after line and the whole thing gets splurted out, like on the page, on the computer, on the phone. It's just a stream of thought, the whole thing straight through, organized with beginning, middle, and ending topics and all that. So this was one of those times. Another one of those times is when I did the song Circle of Life. And on another episode, I'll break down that because that's a lot of stories with that along the way of what happened creating that one. But also I got the whole idea and just wrote the whole song in one shot. So I had the song written and then I was amped. I'm like, oh, I've got to record this. I got to record this now. This is coming out. And this is why it's the first single. All these other songs, I was just making songs over the years and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. I don't want to put it out yet. I don't know how to market it. Nobody buys music anymore. The whole music industry was changing and people didn't care about, my generation of hip hop, and people didn't care about buying records anymore. They were downloading and pirating. It was like, so I was just making songs and showing them to my friends. But then when I came up with this one, I was like, oh, this is hot. This people could like, the young kids could relate to this. People my age could relate to it. Anyone who's an MC or any kind of artist, whether you play guitar, whether you're a painter, whether you write books, but you got another day job that's paying the bills until you can get your project finished and sell it and make income from that. If you relate to that hustle, that grussle, then you'll like this song. And the beat is tough and the lyrics are hard. And the hook is a classic hook from BDP. And I got a feature. I got my man Bamboo. From Maryland, Massachusetts or Maryland, one of those MA states. And he came through and did his part. And I told him, I was like, yo, I really like the style of how you're doing the hook. Why don't you do a little reggae chorus, a little dancehall chorus, just write something, just do a couple bars, just throw it on. There could be a sub hook or an outro or something. And he did, and it was fire. And I threw it on at the end of the record. And it just developed into something I really think people could relate to. 87, born in 87. Okay, no doubt. I was born in the 70s, but in 87, I was rapping and battling and teaching music. And, I was a little kid coming up. Now, where can I find it? You can find it at MCMIReport.com. I put up a link to the Bandcamp earlier. But here is the official website of everything on the MCMI brand. Boom, it's in the live chat. I'll put it up on the screen up here too for those who are watching this later and might not be able to see the live chat. So you see the website on the left, on your left. That's the MCMIReport.com. Now that's a site with articles and blogs and music and clothing and all kinds of stuff. When you click on music, it's going to take you to the Bandcamp page for now. So Bandcamp is one place it'll be on. It's also going to be on Spotify. It's also going to be on every other digital platform, iTunes, etc., Tidal, wherever music is listened to, it'll be there. The video will be right here on these channels. It's going to be on both MCMI Report YouTube and cybersky.org YouTube. So just subscribe and ring the bell for notifications on either of these. And it's coming out on the 25th, so it's not going to be a long wait. There's also other really, really dope hip hop on MCMI Report. Now, the CyberSky videos YouTube, that's my tech blogging channel. So sometimes I'll do something like this where I want to promote it everywhere, because this has to do with technology and how I'm putting these songs together in the studio, shooting the videos, creating this podcast. That's part of my subject matter on CyberSky. But it's not, CyberSky doesn't really cover a lot of hip hop and music and stuff. That's MCMI Report. So if you want to hear it from LR Blitzkrieg, Bad Seed, PH Pumpkinhead, Pac FM, Substantial, Mr. Mech, DJ DP1, Chords Cadero, other artists that are on MCMI, you want to go to MCMI Report and the MCMI Bandcamp page. I'm going to put up the Bandcamp one more time. MCMI Bandcamp. Am I spelling it right? Whoop. And people sometimes ask, what does the MCMI stand for? All right. It has a few different iterations, Originally, and what we really base it on is I'm an MC, MCMI, right? But we're inspired partially by Milk D, Top Billin', Audio 2, beginning of the song. One of the first songs that has Go Brooklyn with the echoes, right? It had the UFO and Go Brooklyn. And then he comes in the first part of the song, he's MCMI, people call me Milk. When I'm busting up a party, I feel no guilt. There's the Bandcamp link. So MCMI, he kind of was saying he's an MC, right? But it sounded like the letters. Now, the letters also have inspiration, like my culture, my inspiration, and other things that we have come up with acronyms for it as well. But it basically represents the real hip hop, the true authentic art. We're not a commercialized brand. We're a ground up, started from the underground, independent Grussel movement. And we're affiliated with other independent Grussel movements like undergroundhiphop.com, like EOW, like Freestyle, the documentary, Freestyle, the Art of Rhyme, Lyricist Lounge, things like that. And Bragging Rights, and a whole bunch of other brands, a lot of battle rap brands like Grind Time Now, KOTD, things like that. These are, our affiliates. So if you go to MCMI and check out some of the music, just know it's going to be real music from the heart. It's not going to be anything. We never try to make a song a certain way to appeal to any audience. We make what's in our heart and what's dope and what we know to be as good hip hop. Of course, that's subjective, but our version, our brand of it. So go check it out and let us know what you think. So to finish up with the story of the song Teacher, which is dropping on January 25th, I'm going to put that in the live chat. Teacher, single from GMS. I know you guys can hear my loud typing, right? Blitzkrieg's always like, gee, you're typing so loud. It's always, so I call up my man Dennis from Stone Brown Studios. This is my home studio. I do some pre-production here, and then I go to the big studio and then get an engineer because he's got the ear and I can get on the mic and just be an MC and not have to engineer. So I said, I got to drop this song. I did the verses and I sang the hook myself. And I listened to it and I was like, it's cool how I sang it. It's like a demo of it. I don't think it's horrible, but I want to get another flavor on that. So I called up Bamboo. I said, I called up my man, Mike Hands. Let's give him some support and some love. Mike Hands, he's a dope MC plus graphic designer, video director. He's really dope. He shot a few of our videos. And he's just a dope MC, and he throws events. So I said, Mike Hands, I'm looking for, actually, let me rewind. Along the way, before I got to Mike Hands and Bamboo, I hollered at a friend of mine, True Indeed. True Indeed is a friend of mine, and he used to be part of The Plague, and we rapped a lot together in the 90s. And I remember his style, and I was like, sometimes he would chat in a reggae style, but he's also Spanish speaking. He's Dominican.
And so his flow had a little bit of Dominican, a little bit of, he rapped in English, but he was straight up hip hop. But if he wanted to do a little Caribbean flavor, he could throw that in there. I said maybe it would sound good if he did come to the teacher. So I called him and he came through the crib and he recorded a version of it and he did the hook, and it was cool. But I was like, nah, I don't really like it with that little twinge. It was like a little bit. It wasn't full dancehall, and he knew that. He's like, hey, I'm not a reggae artist or nothing, but I just like your voice. I think it will sound hot. So he did a version and it was way better than my voice being on there. So then I'm like, all right, Mike Hands, do you know anybody? I'm trying to find someone who could really bring this flavor. Because if you remember, if you listen to the original BDP record, KRS, he kind of goes dancehall. He does it himself. And some people think he's not all the way reggae, so they don't like his reggae. Yeah, he's a pioneer. He's the first one to like blend hip hop and reggae. But he's a little cheesy with it. Some people have told me they feel that. I'm not saying that. But to me, this song didn't need to be full on reggae. It needed to be sort of a hip hop and reggae, just how KRS. So Bamboo is one of Mike Hand's people. And also, Bamboo, he had a company making shirts, right? So we had done some presses and some shirts with him. But he came, he said, yeah, I could do that. I rap, but I do some dancehall style too. So he came through and I guess he's probably Jamaican, I don't know, but he is West Indian. And he came through and he did his version of it. And it was like, that's it. That's the perfect in-between blend, because he doesn't rap on the song. He just does the chorus and he just sings the reggae parts. His patois is flawless, but he's an MC too. It's not like we didn't totally go reggae with the record. It's just like the original. It's a blend between hip hop and reggae. And I wasn't trying to act like it was a reggae song. It's not what I'm doing. But I wanted to pay homage to the original and do it right. And that became the one that I liked the best. True's was okay, but I really liked and I want to do some music with True, by the way, this MC stuff, because he's really dope as well. I known him for years. But so he recorded it. He said, I did a little sub hook, like you said. I did a little something. See if you like it. If you like it, use it. So I was like, bet. I liked it. I threw it on there. I told him I want to do, KRS when he did the original song. At the end, he says, jump, 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 and that song, that's been on 2 or 3 of his records. And then shout out to Lyricist Lounge, Volume 1, DV Alias Christ and Lord Have Mercy. They threw it on one of their songs. They paid homage to BDP also when they did that there. Jump, 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 jump. All my people go jump, 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 jump. So I asked him to do that too, and he did it, and then I did it also with him. So it was both of us saying it and beefed it up and mixed it. And then Dennis laced us with a hot mix. Spent about 10 hours on it. Now I'm a perfectionist. Holy water, thank you. That was the name of the joint. Shout out to LR Blitzkrieg. That's him over my shoulder on trying to point, but it's reversed. There he is, LR Blitzkrieg. Yes, we did. Oh, funny you should ask, Minabor. So we did watch KRS One and Big Daddy Kane. I'm sidetracking because it's a comment. And we did a whole MCMI report episode of that, which is the 3 of us in the picture giving commentary on hip hop stories. So go watch that. You know what I'm saying? Watch it, he says. Did we watch it? We were there in a VIP booth. One of our friends hooked that up, and we got together with 6 of us. And yeah, we watched it right there close up, and it was amazing. That was a great night. There's so many great things, but I can't tell that story because we already told that story of how Wild Child surprised us. I'm not going to give it away, but go to the MCMI report. I think it's episode 4. Blitzkrieg, is it episode 3 or 4? But yeah, that's a cool episode, and that's one of our other podcasts. It's more polished. This podcast is like the DIY. You're going to see everything behind the scenes. You're going to see me adjusting the mic, turning stuff on, turning it off. I'll screen share, let you see what I'm doing on the computer. But that one is like super well produced. That episode, we produced it in LR Blitzkrieg's house. He hooked up his studio to really look like a beautiful podcast situation with the couch and 2 microphones and all that. It was great. So go watch that and subscribe for all these podcasts. But anyway, Dennis finished the mix, Stone Brown Studios. And that was when I first started saying, man, I'm going to put this out. This is going to be a single. But see, one thing led to another. And while I was making that video before COVID, I realized, well, I have this song that I also just finished. It's dope too. That should go. That could be a B-side, but there's no B-sides anymore. There's no vinyls, and you flip it over. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll make a little EP. You know what I mean? So I got those 2 songs. What other songs should I put on here? And I had a few songs halfway finished, and I got motivated. You know what? Some of these songs I've been working on for like a few years, they're really dope, and I never finished them. I'm going to finish these because these are the dope ones, the dopest that I was playing them for all my people, and some of them people were like, I don't know about that, G. You should work on it a little. And some of them, everyone was like, oh, that's hot. So I gathered those together, and those are 5 of the 7 records that are going to be on Along the Way 777, which is the full title of the project. 2 of them, one of them is a Hydra song. So we're going to have a feature from the group. And one of them is a song that I'm recording now, so it's not finished. But the other 5 are Teacher. And then the other 4 songs that after I played a bunch of songs that I've been working on for everyone, that's kind of like my own peers, my little focus group, you know. And yeah, I started coming up with the idea for the album. I didn't have a title for it. But Blitzkrieg was working on his solo at the time. His solo's going to be called Out of Nowhere. Wild Child had dropped his debut Transitions. And then his second project, his full band project with the 4 members is called Levels. And I'm like, man, I got these meaningful names, you know. I want to have impact. So it took a while. And one of my songs was called Somewhere Along the Way. And I sing on the chorus. And I say, somewhere along the way, these things happen, right? I'm not going to give it away right now. That's for a future episode. But I started saying, along the way. All of these stories, the story of my dad and my parents that I talked about, and growing up in Brooklyn, and the adventures and how problems in school, and ciphering in the park with my crew, and battling people, and my getting into education, like all these different stories, quest for freedom and spiritual enlightenment, all of that. It's all what's happened along the way. So I said, there's a song Somewhere Along the Way. I'm going to call that Along the Way, drop the somewhere. That's the title of the project. And I will reveal what the 777 means and symbolizes in another Along the Way podcast. But today is about Teacher, the single, which is dropping January 25th. All over the place. And I do have plans. It's going to come out digitally first. So it'll be downloadable and streamable in different platforms, right? But I have plans in the future for physicals, for NFTs, vinyl eventually. It's going to be many months before vinyls come out because that's something you got to set up in advance. And everything's not even totally finished yet with the project. But the first few songs are finished, and those are going to be coming out. And along the way, we'll be talking like this. And you guys can let me know what you think of some of the music that came out. You can ask me questions. You can tell me my whole music sucks and I'm a whack rapper, whatever you want to tell me. But as long as you're watching, give me that view and stimulating the algorithm. You can thumbs down it for all I care. But make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you ring the bell so you can hate on every release that I drop. Now, so that's the story of the song Teacher. I eventually shortened it from Come to the Teacher to Teacher. I think it's not totally a remake of the BDP song, but it's an ode to that and a shout out to that and a homage to BDP, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Busta Rhymes. I even talk about Big and Tupac. I talk about Jay-Z on the record, So, hey, I'm a good speaker. Cool. I'm glad you like it. I didn't know what was going to happen today. I wasn't ready. The studio wasn't ready. The equipment, everything. I was like, I'm going to miss the deadline. I'm not going to be able to go live at 10 o'clock. And it's not going to all be perfect. And I was like, you know what? Along the way is not about perfect. This is what happens along the way. So I'm turning on the camera and the mic no matter what. I got a little bit of light. It looks good enough. You can see me. And we're going live. And this is how it's going to be each one. Maybe some of them will look better. I'll have the studio in better condition. But I want you guys to see the real, and I want you to travel with me on this journey along the way. And before I go, I'm going to answer one question. But that's basically your story for today is about the song Teacher, January 25th. People often ask me, and I have a friend, Big Zoo from EOW, Chris Finn, shouts to him. He said he gets this question all the time. He was a teacher and then a dean and then a principal. And people would say, are you a principal who raps or a rapper who's a principal? Like how? So I'm answering that question too. People ask me, are you a teacher who raps or are you an MC who teaches? And the answer is yes, I am. And I'm going to reveal right now how I do that, how I go back and forth, because some of my students don't know that I rap. Some of them do. The older kids, I share with them because I'm producing music. I'm teaching them how to do music. So I'm like, here's some of my beats, and I rap, and they find me on YouTube. We saw you in a cypher with Mos Def, or we saw you in this documentary or that documentary or whatever. You might look up a video. But the other kids don't know because I come dressed as a teacher, and I try to speak professionally and set a good example and everything. So this is how I move between those worlds. So right now you're getting Graham CYBERSKY, right? So now we're going to go to Mr. CYBERSKY, the teacher. Just pop my collar up a little. Good morning. The do now is on the board. Go get your computers, log in. Today we're going to do a little touch typing just for warm up. And then who's the window monitor? Let's crack those windows. Keep your masks up. Get the COVID, the filter on for COVID. This is how we're doing it now. All right. Jason, you're going to give out the MIDI keyboards today. Osai, give out the drum controllers to whoever needs it. We're going to be working on software instruments. We're going to not use musical typing today. We're going to actually hit the pads and really feel the beat as we're recording our track. And we're going to make a 4-track song. So I'm in teacher mode, right? Then get off work. Hey, what up? This is GMS. Dropping a new single, Teacher, January 25th. Check it out on MCMIReport.com. You can also visit cybersky.org if you want to see some of my tech blogs and health talks and teacher tutorials, things like that. But, it's all about hip hop right now. Shout out to The Plague, MCMI, big up LR Blitzkrieg in the place. And then wait. And then the teacher again. Good morning, class. This is Mr. CYBERSKY. And then I go out with my wife. We go to dinner. We go dancing. Chilling out. And then I'm shooting my music video. Shout out to Run DMC, GMS of J, Living Legends, and RIP GMS of J. You know what I mean? Maybe throw a little gold chain on. And then we go into the Grammys. Get the bow tie, the tux, you know what I mean? Shout out to Keith Wildchild, who was the first member of Hydra to go to the Grammys, and then he pulled his brother LR Blitzkrieg and myself in. I think the next year Blitz went, and then all three of us finally went as Hydra. I think Blitz and Wildchild went one more time. So that's how I do it. That's the transformation. It's just about the hat. I wear many hats. I'm an educator. I'm a technology blogger. I'm a social media influencer. Not really. They call me that. They say, you're an influencer. People send me stuff. They're like, can you review our products? I reviewed 1 or 2 things. I'm like, I don't like doing that. It's boring. I'm not into that. It's cool. I use the product, but, I'm here to build with my family, connect with people, share my music and art, and spread love around the world. So I prefer to spend my time doing that. If I am going to do something, I'm going to influence people like this to go check out MCMIReport.com and click on the music tab. And, take a look through the artists, because there's a lot of dope music and dope artists, that MCMI has put up. And go get acquainted with the past catalog. And you'll hear me on anything that says Hydra or The Plague, those records. I'm in those groups. So you'll try to find which one is my verse. But this will be my debut solo project along the way, 777. So Hope you've enjoyed your stay. Hey, Blitzkrieg, I made this while I was doing the thing. I made this this little intro right here live in front of everyone. I screen shared. I went into iMovie and I threw a little slideshow together with a beat. It's horrible. I need you to help me. You know, I don't know if you have time. You got a lot of stuff on your plate. You're doing a lot of art for a lot of artists, plus your own music. You got your next single coming out soon. I don't know if you're giving away what it is, so I don't want to say it, but if you're able to, you'll be able to hook me up. But this is, I'm going to go out with that same thing I played earlier. I made this intro live during the broadcast. I will see you guys next time. Along the way is going to pop up without much advance notice. I might drop a link on Facebook or do an Instagram post. Maybe go live on Instagram for 10 minutes and then boom, I'm right here. So just ring the bell for notifications so that you won't miss the next one. And I'll see you guys sometime soon along the way. As always, stay blessed.